I'm going to show you how to make a pattern and then fill it in this video. Basically, I'm going to finish the entire tapestry. So I'm just going to jump into it here. I'm using a Sharpie and a small ruler. And what I want to do is copy what's happening here up here. And then in between, I want to make a diamond like that. So I'm just going to do a few marks. So from here to here is, well, it goes from about 15 centimeters to 11 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and figure that out on this side. Okay, that's where my tapestry is going to end. And then this is at about 7. So I'll go ahead and mark 7. Okay. From there, from this black mark to where this is about 14 centimeters. So I'm going to cut it in half at 7. I like things to be even. Okay, so we know that's halfway. So I'm going to draw basic line. We need to find the middle first though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 2 strings are the middle 2. So this is a crochet marker. I'm going to go ahead and mark it, and I'll just know throughout my entire project that that's going to be middle. And I like to do everything on an even string. It works out better in the end. So just kind of a light line there. Don't want to go too crazy with making it super apparent, but this is just gonna be a nice guide. Okay, so that is the pattern, and now I'm just going to take you through the steps of filling it in. And the main stitch I'll be using this entire time is going to be tabby weave. So since this is the even string on 14, I am going to come back around on this string. So my pattern will have a diamond that starts with these 2. And then on this side, I'm going to fill in starting on this string. So to make the angle, we have to take strings in. So that was 2. This will be the 3rd row back, and since I do like things to be even, I think I will do 4 rows and then indent 2. Okay, and then this time we'll come in 2 strings sooner. Don't want it to get too tight. That's why I'm pulling on it. Okay. See the first row here. And if for some reason it's not panning out with that angle, I will need to add more rows or take away some rows. Since I'm just kind of making this pattern up as I go, you know, there's a little trial and error. But luckily this is a pretty small scale, so if I do need to take some out, it's really not going to be a big deal. And here the weaver's knot's going to need woven in, which really isn't too hard. I usually just try and make it loose enough so that it'll end up in the back. Can't tell it's there. And then you can beat it down with your fingers and then do a touch-up later if you need to. Just saves time from grabbing a tool. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so this is my last row of 4 for this piece of the pattern, and it is just these 2 strings that I'm weaving around. Stuff like this, you want to make sure you're weaving fairly loose, because even if it doesn't look like it right now, sometimes it warps the strings together, and you can tell later on when you're trying to fill in the rest of the pattern. Just gonna make a simple knot. And the way that you disguise, you know, some of these extra pieces later is by pushing the rows down pretty solidly. Okay, so give that a tug. I need to take my shorter needle and then I'm going to go through a couple of rows here. And I just want to hide it a little bit better. I don't want it sticking right out the end if it does happen to stick out a little bit. So just going in the second row as well. And then I'm just going to give her a trim. Okay, so this next side is the opposite of this side. So I'm just going to show you how I tie on over here. And then I will meet you back when this side is done. So give yourself a little bit of a tail. Oh, this is kind of cool. It works out that this color is the starting color. And once I have this side done, I'll weave in this piece like I did at the end over here. I'm going to wait just because it's new, and once the shape is in, it'll be a bit easier to find places to tuck it in. Alright, I finished up this side here, and I had noticed I actually misdrew the line here, so I just kind of corrected it so it met here in the middle. And now we're going to work from the bottom up in this shape. So I'm just going to continue where I left off. The string here, so I'm going to go there. So I'm just going to tie it on this string here. I always go left from right. I'm going to leave a little extra tail. Just pull that through the back there. And then you just want to continue in the same pattern. So you can see the string is on top for this. So now we're going to go the bottom. And this is kind of, in my opinion, about the hardest part of weaving is working in between two shapes. So you want to keep it uniform and make sure it belongs, and also get your needle in there. I think getting your needle in and being able to manipulate the yarn is the most difficult part, but you get used to it. So that's 3 rows, and here's our 4th row. Now you can see that is just even there. Let's just bring my yarn through and start like this. I just want it to be really even throughout the whole deal. I want it to look good. I want the shape to be continuous. Make sure it's not too tight. That's our third row, down and back. So we're going to do our fourth row, down and back. Might be able to get my comb in there now. Yep. And like we did last time, to start over here, I'm just going to go behind these two strings in the back. You're not going to really be able to tell. That's not going to be the focal point of the tapestry anyhow. And then we're just going to carry on. Now that the rows are getting a bit bigger, I'm definitely making sure I have that upside down U so that it doesn't pull. So you want it to be kind of flush. You don't want it to look like there's gaps in between your strings. To look like a continuous shape. I finished this part of the shape. You can see I left off right here and it meets up and there's 4 even rows there. So to get to the end, I'm going to just go behind both the remaining strings and I will weave all the way across. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in my 2 on each side and start going back up to mimic that part of the shape. And to do so, I'm just going to bring my needle back through these two. So it loops around this, it's going to loop around this string ultimately, and this one will be skipped. Okay, so I'm going to start there and continue, and I will loop around this string, leaving these two open. I want to keep in the pattern, I want to keep going every other one so there isn't white string showing through. Okay, so in case you don't know how to count, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 from right there. So that is 4 rows down and back. Now we'll decrease. And so going to do it the same way and go behind these two strings. And that just kind of skips this one, and then the string will loop around right there. All right, and then I'm just going to go all the way up until I'm working on 2 strings here at the top. I made it to the top there, and so now I'm going to flip over and tie knots to finish this big shape. You can see the starting string down here. Okay, let's see. Just gonna tie a little knot and then just go down a few rows. I want it to show in the front. That should do it. And I'm going to grab my small needle right here. And this was already knotted when I started. I made a knot. So I'm just going to hide the tail. Okay. Now there's just this top bit to fill in. And normally I do go left to right, but in this case I'm going to start over here and fill this shape in and tie it off. And then the rest of the tapestry will be able to be one solid piece. Since I'm working left to right, starting in on the first string of the left side to the pattern here. Hope that makes sense. Tying a tail and putting it in the back. Okay. And so to start over here, I'll do like I had before, and I'll go behind those two and do my first full row across. And here I don't want to pull too hard so that there isn't a gap in between here. You can see down here it looks pretty seamless, but there is actually a little hole, but you can't tell. Okay, time to finish up this tapestry. The last thing we're going to do is a hem stitch. So I had just finished doing tabby weave up to here. What I'm going to do is tie a knot, but I'm not going to cut it off. It's going to tie a knot for some stability, and then we'll get into the hem stitch here. All right, so that looks pretty good. Tighten that up. So you go behind 2 strings, pull it through. Go behind 2 strings again, but this time you go a couple of rows underneath your weaving like that. You pull it through. And just do that all the way across. Oops. Pull tight. And I had been polling my friends on some social media to see what the vote was, if this was going to turn out to be a table tapestry or a wall tapestry, and table tapestry got the most votes, so that is why I'm doing it like this. There's a wall tapestry, I may have added some fringe right here, but it also I think would look really good just like this on a wall. If you want to vote on future projects and how they turn out, or see more behind the scenes type of deals, you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is BBBROOKE. I'll probably post mostly to my stories. I usually don't like posting works in progress directly to my page, just because I like a finished product. All right, we're finishing up here. This last one, just gonna get behind 2 there. Cool stuff. All right, and I'm gonna flip over and tie it off. Okay, so just gonna work my thread, my needle in. It's a little bit hard at the end because it's less room to work with. That is also another reason why I switched the small needle. Of course, the string fell off. Okay, so I kind of worked it in a little bit, and I'm gonna throw in an extra knot. So I'm just gonna loop it through, and then it looks like maybe, there we go, that's a knot. I'm going to work it in just a little bit more. Okay. And trim. this one to tie off. I can just loop it in somewhere because it was already tied on to begin with. I had used the same string for this entire shape here, so that's why I'm just now cleaning this one up. Okay. So before I take it off the loom, I'm just gonna use my comb and tighten everything up before I take it off. Okay, so to take it off, basically, I mean, you can do it a couple of ways. For the tied ends, I'm going to try and just make them loose and get it off, or I will cut it off really close to it. Oh look, I was able to get it pretty tight, so I will just cut it as close as possible. Okay. This last part of my video did kind of get cut off. I was tying knots. But thank you so much for watching my video. Like and follow for more. Please subscribe to my channel. Find me on social media. Let me know if you have any requests on things you want to see in the future. Next time. Bye.